cleanses. Like, they like the idea of like a quick fix. They think it's just like 21 days and all their weight is gone or something. But it was successful last time I did it. I felt great. So if anyone is interested in jumping into my group, the more the merrier, because so many women fall off the wagon. So to have like more engagement, just message me or something. We are starting September 14th.
That's awesome, because it really does, like, even if you have people within your challenge groups or within your network and you're not doing the Ultimate Reset, but they're really interested, this is a great resource, right? And this is how we become more successful together, is sharing those things. Because the Ultimate Reset, like, that's a beast, you guys. I mean, I have anxiety about the 3-day refresh. But whenever the girls do it here, they're like, you eat like this anyway, because like I'm vegetarian. But no, I don't. It's a lie. They just eating cucumbers at work. They don't see what I do at home. But that's awesome. I love that. I love that when you're injured, you can go to the nutrition side. And now it doesn't just have to be 21-day, the Ultimate Reset. It can be mindset, right? Love that.
Yes, and the volume really helps your downline. So if you want to put that in your team page and put that out to any of your ladies, it helps your volume a ton.
Awesome tips. Great. Okay, guys, this is a discussion. What else are you doing? You guys are going to have to be best friends to help each other. Are you guys all doing great with retention? Do you not have to worry about this? Hey.
What I've been doing is kind of starting these new programs as they come out in waves. So, I mean, when Lift 4 first came out, obviously, like, we did a team-wide challenge group that we got everyone into. But that was just for people starting, at that first point. Well, as I've been talking about it more on social media and sharing about it, then each month with my regular challenge group. So we started yesterday, right after Labor Day. I talked this big game about Lift 4 and then invited this new sort of class of people to start it with me with the September group. And so I had a huge new wave of people starting that. So I just kind of like keep that going each month. The timing doesn't always work out perfectly before the next program or whatever, but I have it's been working pretty well.
Awesome. Whitney, you had yourself off mute for a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you said, is anyone awesome at retention? And I'm like, no. Okay, so my question, actually my upline, we've all been talking about it a lot this week, because getting people to redo workouts, no big deal. Like, kind of do what you do. We start new challenge groups all the time. That's not the problem. The problem is getting people to drink Shakeology like continuously. And so I was looking at my stuff and I'm like, over the summer, like, so many people just didn't drink it past the first month or two, like, unless they were a discount coach or something like that. So my biggest question, I guess, would be like, my upline, we've been trying to talk about it, like, how can we really build retention? And so we were throwing out some different ideas of like, and so that's what I'm curious what you guys do. Like, I don't make my people order Shakeology in order to be in my challenge group. Like, once they order it, then they're in, because they still have BOD for the year. So I wouldn't want to ditch them. But she's saying, try doing a group where they have to be on shakes, or I don't really know. So I guess that would, if I could spin the question a little bit when it comes to retention, because that's been like a huge goal of mine for September, is number one, am I not checking in with my challengers enough? Or is it really just like they need some type of urgency or some type of extra thing? I don't know.
Yeah, they need the urgency. So when I first started coaching, I did not require it either. Like, I mean, literally, if someone had like an old T25 DVD in their closet, if they dusted it off, I would let them in. And what I found was that, number one, they weren't serious. They didn't really commit. They weren't getting the results. And then when they would be like, how come everyone else is like, I'm not getting the results? Even if they were doing the program, everyone else is getting better results. And I found myself talking to these same people and trying to coach them over and over again. I knew what the missing piece was. It was Shakeology, because that was the missing piece for me. I have a really strong story connected to Shakeology. Like, I stopped napping, you guys. I slept every day. I was always exhausted. And so for me, after 3 days, I stopped napping and I felt amazing and my cravings went away. And in 12 weeks time, I literally had my like forever body. And so to me, I'm like, girl, if you want it, this is just a part of it. And so I closed down my groups every single month and start a new one. They do not move to the next group until they send me their order number. for Shakeology. And I actually just started that maybe 3 or 4 months ago because I had several girls who were posting their shakes and doing everything. And I went and looked into my back office and they hadn't ordered Shakeology in 6 months, but they'd been in my group for 6 months. So they were just taking any sort of shake over the counter or purchasing Shakeology off of eBay, which really made me so mad. I mean, they were getting it for like $30 cheaper than it would have been through me. And I was getting like no commission. I'm coaching them for absolutely free. Yes, they still have Beachbody On Demand, but when I put the hard requirements of you either will have a subscription of Shakeology or the Performance Line to enter and continue into my groups, my retention not only went better, my people's results got better, my income went better. And it was, even though like I sometimes feel bad, I make exceptions every once in a while, but I make sure that they know that this is an exception. And I've had 2 people because I just am switching over this week. We start a new group on Monday. So all my current girls, I usually will do a post that says like, what is your next month going to look like? Do you want to continue? All you need is to send me your order number. And so I get a lot of personal messages like, hey, so what bothers me is when they say I didn't drink it every single, so I have half of a bag left. I still make them buy a bag because you don't have enough to get through the challenge. Every once in a while, I will say, girl, I will do this for you this time. But in the middle, like you have to check in every single day. I was like, if you do not show up one day, you're out just like that. So kind of like a little bit of tough love, but they want in my group so bad that they will buy it. And if you find that, let them go for a month. If they want to go, let them go for a month. Check in with them 2 times. Like check in with them, see how they're doing without the support, without the accountability, without the groups, without their Shakeology. And when you check in with them, like, hey girl, I know you were struggling. I've got another group coming up. Do you want to jump in and restart this with us? Then that will give them that motivation of, hey, you had a break. How did you do by yourself? So kind of like have to just put that line in the sand.
And Lisa, I absolutely love what you're saying because you guys have to realize, like, yes, you are tender women and we nurture and we love everybody and we want to help everybody, but you're entrepreneurs. This is your business. Okay. And I know that there are some coaches who do have paid groups, just like you said, Lisa. I know that Kate Morgan, who's actually live right now, and I want to encourage everybody to go watch her video afterwards. But because she's talking about the same thing, retention in her challenge groups, but she has a paid group and they have to be on HD something, right? Because guess what, you guys, that's your residual income. That's how you make money. Guess what? That's okay. That's part of the reason we started this business, is to make money. And you have to be sure that you respect yourself enough to let yourself get paid, right? To value your time that much. So if you have a paid group, yeah, those guys, they deserve your attention. They've paid for it. Your free group, your free community, that's fine. Check in a couple times a week, but you're not going to make yourself crazy by checking in all the time and giving them the value that you're giving these paid people who are actually putting money in your paycheck. I hope that makes sense. So I don't really want to interrupt anything, but Court, you were going to add something.
Yeah, I have a question. So this makes sense to me because I have been struggling with my Shakeology retention and driving me crazy because I can't get anyone to stay on it beyond a couple months because it's too expensive. Like they love it, but they say it's too expensive. So how do you go from being like the softy caregiver coach to a little more of a hard ass? Because this all makes sense to me. You're right. It is our business. This is our residual income. Like, how do I do that without all my people? Because I have a wellness community of almost 400 people, and then I run like a program specific group or, like a paid group monthly. Like, how would I do that without them being like, whoa, what the hell? Like, who are you? Like, does anyone have any tips?
So what I did, it's not easy. The first month you're going to be like, did I make the right decision? Yeah. Are they a little bit irritated with me? But it was a good decision for my business and for me. And then once that rule was there, it was easier to stick to it. Like, oh, that's the rule. And I went live in my group and I just said, hey, you guys, like, I see some of you struggling. I shared a piece of my story again, like the beginning part, like share what Shakeology has done for you, what it means to you. And what I found was that people were struggling over and over and over again. I'm like, I know why you're struggling, and I do not want to like see you sit here and fail over and over again because you're missing that one piece that I know that could make the difference for you. So I just said, like, moving forward, it's going to be a requirement. If you do not want it, if it's something that's not in your budget, I would love to offer coaching to you. Like, offer them coaching. When someone says, I can't afford it, I'm like, you should coach. Because that was my goal, was to pay for my own Shakeology. I did that. And so I can teach you how to do that. That's a message that you message them on the side. But anytime there's a money objection, offer coaching. And also offer, like, I mean, think about what your habits were before. So if they come to me and maybe they're irritated or they're angry, like, you might have one or two of those people, but honestly, they're going to do so much better with it than without it. And if you look at, so do you have a group where, like, you have people in it who are not paying, like, they're not on Shakeology?
They don't necessarily have to be on Shakeology. They all have to have on, like, they all have to be customers of me or one of my coaches. They can't, it's just not free. So they are all doing Beachbody, but they're not necessarily all on Shakeology.
Yeah, so I would say what makes me feel a little bit of a butthole is when I say Shakeology or the performance line, because I speak Shakeology so much, but I'm like, if you absolutely, because that makes me feel like I'm money hungry. Like, I mean, if you can't do the Shakeology, you hate it, you have to at least do this.
Well, I don't even get how people survive without Energize It. So I, like, most of my people, I'm always like, all right, well, that, like, how are you not living without Energize? So I guess I could kind of give them.
Yeah, and just, you just have to do it. Expect a little bit of backlash, especially from your people you've been giving them something for free for a really long time, and they're probably still going to expect it. But if you have a wellness community, just say, you know what, that's what my wellness community is for. So you'll have a month of transition, some messages back and forth with people, put them in your wellness community and call it a day. And then moving forward, that's your rule, and that's it.
Okay.
Leah, were you going to add something?
Yeah, so a comment and a question. So I transitioned over the beginning of last year with this. I have a large, like, my downline community group. So we run our challenge groups with my downline in these groups, and it was like a long-term accountability group. So we would do our monthly groups, and then we would move people here for long-term accountability. That group is amazing. Like, it's like a family. Like, people, like, don't want to leave because of that community. But what we decided to do is that only people could stay in that group as long as they were on a Home D, like a HD product. It worked well for me. So this is my question. It worked really well for me, right? Because I was bringing in people with challenge packs and I was getting them to stay on. It didn't work for my coaches. My coaches were struggling to get their people staying on HD. So it didn't benefit us as a team, which is what I wanted it to work well for, even though maybe it worked well for me because I have the belief, I have the business sense, like not all of my coaches or my coaches downline got that. So we stopped doing that because I found that actually negated them bringing in the volume, even though it wasn't necessarily retention. They have to buy a challenge pack to get in our group, but they're not required to stay on HD every month in that group. So I guess my question is, if you are putting this into your own business, are you doing these groups only with you, yourself, and your business? Are you incorporating your team, or how are you teaching your teams to do this? Because that's where my gap is.
So for me, I do run my groups by myself. I don't run them with my team unless they're new coaches. They get like 60 to 90 days in my groups to invite, and then they fly the nest and do their own. And a lot of times as a new coach, they say like, hey, so this person doesn't want to buy the challenge pack, or can I still add them like to your group or to our group that we're running together? And I'm like, nope. Like, they need the challenge pack, and if they don't have the challenge pack, you're welcome to run a free group that you could invite them to. And then moving forward, like, I teach them that people have to have the challenge pack for 3 months, and then when they go on their own, they just naturally do that, and that becomes their rule too. But I have had other coaches when like they didn't like my rule. They're like, I really just feel like everybody should join. And I'm like, well, when you run your own challenge groups, that's your house. You run your household with your rules the way that you want them to, but I just give it to them from a business sense. Like, you need to see how this is going to affect your business long term. And I mean, Shakeology is our moneymaker. That's what we do. But I don't run a huge downline because our groups would be way too big. But what I do find is that when you put, like, you have to have Shakeology, people who buy Shakeology are invested. They're getting really amazing results, and those people are a billboard for your business. And the people who don't want to move on, they will drop out of your groups, but you will see they will come back. They need the support, the accountability. Once they have it, they want it back. So I find even if you have a drop off, it still will replenish itself. And I mean, you're finding new people every single month. So
Awesome. So I think that's a perfect way to do it, because especially at this point in your businesses, you all have pretty sizable challenge groups. So I mean, it makes sense to like let your coaches come in, show them a duplicatable system, right? That's the whole point of this, is we're training them to do what we do. And if they don't want to follow what we're doing, I mean, you do have to protect your income as well as your groups, right? So if it makes sense to kind of split, that's what you have to do. And please don't be scared to say things like, I have to make sure that I'm compensated for my time and my energy and the value that I'm putting in. You can say that to your coaches and you can say that to your customers. That's okay. And it's such a taboo thing because we are like the touchy-feely, oh my gosh, like sending you love, and you can do that. But I know for a fact that you guys have all read personal development books where it talks about money is a transference of energy, right? That's a real thing. So you have to respect that too. Anybody want to add anything about that? I will give you a tip that I had from one of my elite coaches last year, and she was having a problem with Shakeology retention. So what she did was she'd bring her people in to the challenge group, and during like the third or fourth week, it was well within the time period where you can get your refund if you sign up for a coach. And she would say, I just want to make sure that you know about this opportunity to get Shakeology on a discount. But I want to make sure that you are committed to doing this for 365 days because this is a valuable product. I want to make this the healthiest year of your life. But I only want to offer the discount to people who are actually going to stay on Shakeology for a year. If not, if that feels like too much to you, that's totally fine. You can stay in the challenge group. We'll look at your workout. We'll, switch up your flavors. But if you do decide to be on for 365 days, we'll sign you up with a coach account. You can build it as a business or not. Most people decide to. So that's kind of how she framed it. Did people fall off still? Absolutely. But she found that people were staying on for double or more than the average because they had made that commitment to her. So that's kind of an idea of let's keep people on Shakeology. Any thoughts?
I like that. Because I usually, around that same point in time, go to my challengers who purchased a challenge pack. I know they're liking Shakeology. I talk to them about coaching. If they didn't, sign up that way, and if it doesn't sound like they're interested in that right now, then I talk about the discount option. But I really like presenting it that way. Like, if you're serious about this, and you want to go in for a full year, that's an interesting approach.
And she's one that built Elite without using her husband, without using her second CBC. So whatever she did, it worked. Leah, what were you going to say? Just use your words. Take yourself off mute.
My kids and my dog are going crazy. My best retention was with the 80-day launch for sure, because just like you said, I think, because people go in with the expectation they're committing for 80 days. So they're starting like, a month before, and then they're going to go after. So they know they're committed for like 4+ months. And I found that role that kept the retention, all those people that I had in my initial launch, many of them turned to coaches, and they're all like lifers because of that commitment. So I really like how she asked that ahead of time about the commitment. I'm going to start doing that.
Absolutely. And it's not legally binding. It's not some kind of like, you have to be on this or you're going to get a penalty or whatever, but it's a verbal commitment to yourself and to your coach, right? I mean, you're building yourself from the inside out. And if you think about how long it takes to like get a new skin, what does it take, like 7 years or something like that? And then your insides do the same thing, your guts, like a year is a good start, right? So kind of thinking about that, how we're building stronger bodies from the inside out, and Shakeology is the best start. Kelly, what were you're doing exactly? So I'm doing 80 days again. Okay. So tell us, Kelly, where are you?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry. I'm the one that had the obnoxious sound in the background. I didn't know that it was on. I'm not used to being by myself without my children. Okay. And I'm really hyped up on coffee. So actual apologies. So basically I jumped on coaching this January, which was perfect because it was 80 days. Everybody I had signed up did 80 days. So I had that 3-month like La La Land where they all were ordering shakes and it was amazing. And then the summer happened, right? And so then I was like, okay, what can I do again? When was I mentally the most successful? And when were my people the most successful? And it was when it was, like you said, over a long period of time. So I don't know how to do retention. I don't know any of that junk yet. I just started in January. Whitney's my upline. She's amazing. Shout out to Whit. But my point is, I guess, I don't know what my point is. I'm just saying I'm doing 80 days again, hoping that by showing again, like the change and all that stuff, and then hyping up that it's because of the shakes. Because honestly, I've had so many people who did 80 days with me, didn't follow the eating plan and didn't do the shakes. So they didn't see any difference. And they said, well, I use this other protein like everybody else knows, right? They got it cheaper or whatever at all the other places. So that's my plan. It's not really that, I don't know. I don't really have good information to share other than the fact that I did a MailChimp, whatever, for September, showed all of my people who had great success, including myself. Literally, like, it was incredible. It was the best thing I ever did. I'm not like saying, oh, look at me, I'm being honest. Like, changed my life. I was a binge eater. It was awful. It was crazy. So it was amazing. But I don't know. I'm an 80-day freak. So if that helps anybody, I don't know if it did. That's all I got.
I used to be like a super softie about people who would be like, I want to sign up for your challenge group. Can't really afford it. Maybe I'll just buy the shakes. Can I just do the shakes for a month or two without, or just the workouts? And I used, like, as a new coach, I'm like, I want to accommodate them. Like, yeah, like I've been there. I was tough on money too. But I think back, I was in nursing school. I was in debt and I paid $200 for the annual challenge pack because it used to be $200 or $210. And I was all in, and I found that when I'm a softie with people like that, I end up spending even more time going back and forth in emails because they're not truly willing. And so again, they're getting more questions. Well, can I do this instead? And they don't really stick with it because they're just not that ready. And so I have found that, like, a little bit of tough love, which I'm not good at, has helped just differentiate. Like, I had a coach sign up last night after my coach sneak peek, and I sent her the link. She said done with expedited shipping because honestly, I've been putting this off too long. So I'm going to introduce her like today, sent her the welcome email because I know, like, she seems truly committed. She even paid for expedited shipping.
Oh, guys, I know what I wanted to add. I'm sorry. I was rambling because I was emotional and excited. I started in January, the 80 days. So I have not been able to literally start and stop a challenge group yet because it started in January. Everybody got on board in February, March, April, May. Here we are in September. So I'm writing this all down like, okay, yeah, do a free group, do a paid group. And I'm thinking, who am I kidding? Like, I literally still have somebody starting every single day. And I don't know how you guys do that. I think actually you said you do. I'm starting here and I'm ending here. But like, if somebody says, I'm ready to start my fitness journey and it's on September 12th, am I supposed to be like, oh, hey, by the way, wait until, you know what I mean? So I haven't been able to, like, I'm just being honest. My challenge app's ridiculous. It's like 200 people, but consistently the same people who started 80 days with me and actually did it and ordered the shakes are the same people who today look awesome and feel awesome and are still ordering the shakes. So it's been 8 months of starting, stopping, ghosting, and now people are coming back on board. That's my journey. All right, there you go. That's all I got.
Okay, so I know there's a lot of people on here that have people start in the middle of the month, right? Is that kind of what you're asking, Kelly, where you get a challenger and you're like, well, shiz, what do I do now?
Like not only just middle of the month, but like just randomly. And so like this, yeah, I see you, girl. Go ahead. Help me, Allie.
So can you hear me? I'm in a coffee shop and I really don't know what I'm doing.
You're totally whispering. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Now?
Yeah, that's good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So oh, it was muted. That's why. Wow. Okay. So hyped up on coffee too. So I use units. And so I have units. I can actually do this real quick so you guys can see what I do. And this has taken a lot of like thinking about. So I use units. And so anytime I send them their welcome email, I say, okay, girls, like I'm so excited. The group is ongoing. So I'm always adding people to it since the initial launch. And so I have them go through each of the units. So this is like the welcome message. And then I do a contract. So here's like a contract that they sign. And so they don't go into the full group until they go into the units. And so like my personal development unit, and here's all of prep week for them to go through. And then here's like, okay, congratulations, you've gone through all the units. Now you can get into the group. So they don't feel overwhelmed and they don't feel like they are like lost and everybody's already started. They feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know how to use BOD. Like I know how to do all this. I've gone through prep week. Now I can just kind of start posting sweaty selfies and start posting all this other stuff because I know what I'm doing. I had a lot of time people would like go in mid-month and people have already started and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this, and asking me a lot of questions. And so I put it all in the units. So it's like step-by-step what they do before, and then they graduate and go into the actual group, if that helps.
So in your actual group is separate than your unit, and then that like prep units?
Hold on. I'm sorry, what was that? What was that?
Go ahead and ask again, Court. I don't think she heard you.
So Allie, is that prep group with your units, is that separate than your actual challenge group?
No. So on Facebook,
it's within the same group.
Facebook, in Facebook groups, you can add units now to it, which are learning experiences. And I think Melanie Mitro did an entire YouTube on it. And so when they open the group, it automatically goes to the units. I switched it to that. And so they'll go all through the units, and then they'll start the discussion, which then they'll start going inside the group and being able to post and stuff so they don't feel lost. But I give them instructions. I'm like, first go through the units, watch all the videos I've recorded for you, learn how to use Beachbody On Demand, and once you're ready to start, jump in. There's other girls there to welcome you, and I let them know that they're not behind. There's people there on all times, because what I found is if we start a group, people are going to fall off, and then people are going to want to restart, and people are going to get a week behind, and people are already going to always be on different schedules. And so if you I feel like having one continuous group for the entire pre-launch was just what worked for me.
So within your group, when you're posting, you're not following like day 1, day 2, because you have people coming in all the time. So what kind of content are you putting in that actual challenge group? Sorry, I have so many questions.
I'm doing like everybody. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like today was intense. Like I want to see your sweaty selfie. Let me know what day you're on, and let me know how you're enjoying it. And then I do a lot of food posts. So I'm like, let me see your food, Shakeology, which is all universal. Right. And then like at the end of the week, I'm like, or on rest day, I do a universal rest day, because the rest day is the same for all of the all the weeks. And then same on Saturday and Sunday, rest day, and I ask them what they're doing for the rest day, if they're using their cheat meal.
Okay, well, thank you.
And then so I'm really big into self-love, because it was something I struggled with, kind of an I started getting work on mine.
We lost her. Allie's all frozen. Thank you so much for that, Allie. That was, there you are. You're back.
Am I here? I'm sorry. I'm in a coffee shop and my earphones aren't working. I'm just struggling.
Struggle bus, but you have coffee, so we're okay, guys. Like we're the coffee spazzes. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. I love it. I love Kelly is like, she's all, I'm about to vibrate out my seat. Blah. I love it. It's awesome. Okay, I'm loving. So Allie, I did have a question about your group though. Are you doing lift 4? She can't hear me now. Allie, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Were you doing lift 4 and you were just starting people at different times, but your group is just all lift 4? Okay. So is there anybody that has like different?
Yeah.
Okay. So does anybody have different programs within the same challenge group? Whitney, you're shaking your head. Yes. Kelly. Okay. Talk to us about that. Like, do you start people in the middle of the month and how does that work? Or do you have a set start end date?
So in the summer, I run my groups continuous because I have my kids home and I know what my limits are, and starting and stopping and moving everyone. And so, yeah, I will add people pretty much, and I will set up the units for the summer months. But after that, my people do really well when I close down a group and open up a new one. It's like a fresh start, and I do not allow anyone in past prep week. So like right now I'm in prep week and my group is going to start on the 10th on Monday. That's our day 1. After that, like I won't let anyone else in my challenge group. But usually like I push really hard for 2 weeks for that challenge group. And then the next 2 weeks I kind of focus on coaching. So yes, I can still invite to it and I'm totally fine inviting. And at this time, like when my next challenge group starts, I have a name. And for my next group, I open that group up and I put a welcome post in it. And so if they know that they're signing up for their challenge to start on, the second Monday of October. And so even though they buy their package now, they kind of go into that group as a holding group. And it depends on who they are. I will sometimes give them an option like, hey girl, we just started my challenge group last week. We're already through prep week. We're starting. If they seem super gung-ho and excited, do you want to jump in and just like go full force, or do you want to go through prep week and kind of get your mind right? And they usually will pick one or the other. And I only do that for that 1 week where it's like 3 weeks. You have to wait a long time. You could be done with the program in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So I will give them that option, and they know ahead of time that they're going into a group that's already started. And I just kind of say, hey, I tagged them in a couple of posts, read through these and just jump right in. I think you just have to read someone's personality, because people who jump in and they feel like they're behind, they never really get like caught up or ready, or they feel like they need to, you got to explain everything. They got to go grocery shopping, making a meal plan for the first time. Like all of that can be overwhelming. And if they have like 2 weeks to kind of get their mind right, their stuff is shipping, it arrives. And I always tell them, start drinking your Shakeology right away, because you're going to see exactly what it does for you, even before you even start adding in your workouts and your nutrition. And so I've had them be like, oh my God, like I feel so good. And I'm like, yeah, it's a Shakeology. And so that's like another thing to where they can pinpoint, like it's just the Shakeology. They don't start all of it at one time. So sometimes that's really great for them too.
Perfect. I love that. Anybody else have any input? We're running out of time. We have about 5 minutes left. So any other thoughts, suggestions, best practices? Whitney, you were shaking your head, yes, that you have several different programs in your challenge group. So I'm curious to know, do you add people in the middle? How do you work yours?
Well, I've done a bunch of different things. Sorry, I have 2 kids here of the 4. I have done a bunch of different things over the last 2 years, but what I was trying to do with 80-day lift forward to be mindset, I wasn't being good at with anybody. And I had a brand new baby, and so I went live in all my groups, and I said, we're a family and families do different things. And so we're all gonna come together. I can try again in a minute. Never mind, I'll mute for now.
You're totally fine. Most of us have babies, so you're.
I know, right? Now she's quiet. And people love that. They were like, that's fine, because I was like, in a family, everyone does different things. So I put the date. I'll type it.
Okay.
If I stop talking, she stops. I put the date. So I'll be like September 5th. Instead of like day 4, I'm saying like it's August 22nd. It's September, whatever. And people are checking in. But that was the summer. I am starting a fresh group on the 10th to try just a 3-week thing again. So But my people liked it. I had 2B people in with bod people, which I know everyone's like, how in the world, why would you do that? Because I have 4 kids and they're all young. So that's why. And it works. And I can sign people and keep them if I do what works for me. So that's really what I had to learn in like May, because I was sucking.
I did the exact same thing. I had like friggin' 3 groups going, Lift 4, 2B, and the other one. And I was spread so thin. I was like, nobody is getting the best of me. Like, this is not working. And so I just meshed them all together, created 2B units, created other units. And I was like, here you go. We're all still being healthy. You know what I mean?
There is definite value for having nutrition people in with workout people, and you know what I mean? So I love that. Gisela says, I only have one main group for all. The girls who are starting with me have a VIP chat where we connect daily and do our workouts virtually. Zoom, with Zoom, if someone joins at the middle, then I start a set date for them and the group who will be starting that day. Chat groups work better for my team, then they stay more accountable. So that's a good idea, chat groups. Okay. That's interesting. I've never heard of that. Kelly also asked, I tell my girls everybody is different and everybody is different. We are all on different paths in the same journey. And then she also, does anyone struggle if they go on Facebook versus challenge app? Those people don't have Facebook. So do you do the challenge tracker app for the people who don't have Facebook?
Yeah, like I have challenge track and then Facebook. So what I'm saying is if I would only go to Facebook, because that I think actually is easier, then the people say, I don't have Facebook. It's like tough, get Facebook so you have accountability. You know what I mean? Whereas the challenge tracker, it's like, it's free. Like that's your option. You know what I mean?
I have so much trouble checking in with both. Like I just did a Lift 4 group, 2 Lift 4 groups in the app. The first one was good. It's just ending this week. And the second one was so shitty. But I like Whitney said, like I got 2 young kids too. I have to do what works for me. I can give way more value and time and energy to just Facebook. So if you don't have Facebook, freaking make a ghost account and just go on there just for that. Like if you really want the help and the support, I feel like they're going to do it. And at the same time, like time is money, our energy is like, we have to find what works for us. And hopefully our people will just get on board. I don't know. I wish I wanted to like the app so badly, but I can't do it.
I can't. I did it for like 6 months and my girls had no connection and I had no connection with them. It was like pulling teeth to get people to interact in there, and I couldn't pop and go live, and it just was not my jam. I took everyone back out, put them all back into Facebook. I loved it for the tracking. Like people like logging their Shakeology did really, really well with that. And I love that. I could just check on, hey, how many workouts have they gotten in? But other than that, I couldn't do it. The Facebook is where it's at. But I'm starting to grow a lot more on Instagram, and I'm finding like someone said, hey, I don't have Facebook. Like a lot of people on Instagram, they don't have Facebook on purpose because they hate it. So I really do wish we had, I mean, I know the app is supposed to be our solution, but it's not a solution for me yet. And I tried it for 6 months. Like I didn't try it for 1 month, like 6 months of my business.
So what do you think the app is lacking?
Live. 100% live.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because with my challengers, when I always ask them at the end of a challenge group, sorry, my throat is killing me right now. At the end of a challenge group, I always say like, what would you like more from? And they say, cause I go live like crazy during prep week. And then, you know, during the actual 21-day challenge, I'll just pop in here and there more as so with the check-ins. And they always say, go live more. We love seeing you. You doing this stuff and showing us makes us so much more excited. So that was my main killer with the challenge app, because I tried to do the same because I had a lot of Instagram people just anti-Facebook. And so the live is always what caught me up, because I'd have to film it, then I'd have to upload it to YouTube, then I'd have to put it on the app, and then I was still running a Facebook challenge, so I was doing the same thing, because when I put the YouTube link on my Facebook group, nobody watched it. They were looking for my lives, so I was having to do triple the work to give the same content. And so 100% I think live in the challenge group or in the challenge tracker.
Okay, that's good feedback. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys. So we're out of time, but thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and start.